Hello everyone, I'm Joe Flick with the Montana State Library here with your Montana State Librarian, Jennie Stapp, and it's time for the November website chat. We didn't have one in October, so we're doing a little catch up here. And just want to remind you that all of these website chats are recorded and we post them to the same album on our Vimeo channel. This is the address for that Vimeo channel album. And you can find all the most recent website chats. I do try to keep them pretty up to date, so you usually can only find the last 2 or 3. And you can always view those usually within an hour after the completion of our actual live event. And this is our agenda for today. So Jenny's going to give us some news and updates, focus quite a bit on the Essential Information Services Statewide Awareness Campaign. And we've got Matt and John from the Lewis and Clark Library and Helena online as well, so we can give you a little brief update on what to expect for the Montana Library Legislative Day, which is coming up really shortly, right after the holidays. And that is the very cool sticker that we've been distributing to libraries. And Jenny, I do have a poll that you asked me to create for people, if you want to do that now, of who has their stickers. So,
oh, that would be awesome.
So we're gonna ask you if you have stickers at your library, and that poll shows up on your screen right now. So go ahead and click yes, no, or I don't know. And we're looking for 100% participation, which it looks like about 3/4 of the folks have voted. This is practice for Tuesday, everybody, so get in there. Jenny, you need to vote too.
I did.
Okay. Anyone not voting, get in there. Just say, I don't know. It's all right. We won't report you to anything.
But we'll send you stickers.
Yes, we'd love to send you stickers. Okay, so let's close that poll and take a look at it. I'll show you what it looks like. So 64% yes, 30. So we still got a third to work to do there. All right, you also had one other question, and that was, let me just hide that for a second. How much do you know about the campaign? So rate us. So do you know anything or nothing at all?
Or that's why you're here today?
Oh, got some folks who say they're pretty well informed. That's probably you, Jenny. Okay, you need to think about this one a little bit, but go ahead and get in there and vote. I'm going to give you 5 more seconds. And there you go. We're going to take a look at those results. So there you go, Jenny. About half the people say they're aware of some of it. Some know what's going on, but that's it. And at least we don't have any nothings at all, so that's great. We've got.
Glad to hear that. That's great.
This is not the know nothing party. All right, it's all yours.
All right. Thanks, Joe. And thanks for joining us, everyone. I have a few updates before we sort of dig into the nuts and bolts of the public awareness campaign. And then, as Joe said, I do want to talk just a little bit with John and Matt about some government affairs and Library Legislative Day goings on. So just a few brief updates from the State Library and the State Library Commission. The Commission had their October meeting, and as Joe said, things were just really busy in October with lots going on, lots of meetings and travel, so we didn't get to the October website chat, so thanks for joining us a week early in November. This was a good compromise in between the 2 months. One of the key things I wanted to make you aware of coming out of the State Library Commission meeting is that the State Library is going to be conducting an administrative rules process whereby we establish new rules for implementation of the state depository program. Joe, I was going to ask you, can you make me the presenter, please?
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you very much. So most of you know that the state library is responsible for administering a state depository program. And in the days of old, the days of yore, that used to entail collecting print materials from state agencies. We used to collect 17 copies of every print publication produced by a state agency, and we would catalog them and we would mail them out to depository libraries, and depository libraries would either catalog them or get records from OCLC and label those items and put them on their shelves, and hopefully those items would circulate. It was a rather laborious process, and it was a process that took a bit of staff time and quite a bit of shelf space for participating depository libraries. And I think the key thing to keep in mind is digital publications and the prevalence of digital government information has completely changed how we go about providing access to government information. And the really, really exciting thing is that means that any library can be a government information center, and that it really doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of staff resources. It certainly doesn't take any shelf space because all of those publications are online. And so we hope through this process to really encourage any library to become a government information center. And the first step is adopting administrative rules to help make that happen. So what the administrative rules say is that any library that's a member of the Montana Shared Catalog already has access to catalog records that your patrons can discover, and then those catalog records link to the digital state publications in full text form. And any library that is not a member of the shared catalog could get MARC records from the state library to load in your local catalogs, and those records would contain links to the digital publications. So through those processes, it's very, very easy for any library to be a government information center. We hope that libraries will take advantage of this and promote themselves as state government information centers. So that's another point that's contained in these administrative rules. And then those libraries will designate staff people as points of contact, references for providing access to government information. And finally, that should a library choose to leave the depository program, that they would notify the state library. But our hope is that this is easy and relevant and that you'll all want to participate. So Montana statute that gives the state library the authority to be or administer the depository program requires that we have administrative rules that define what these steps are for participating libraries. And so, as I said, we're going through a rulemaking process to define those steps, and the rulemaking process involves seeking public comment about what those rules look like. And so later today, the draft rules that I'm showing you on my screen, I hope, are going to be available for public comment.
They are on the screen, so
excellent.
They're just perfect.
Good. So later today, via Wired Montana, you will receive an email from Jim Kammerer, and he will have more information that's going to direct you to a link from this page. It's going to be the 2018 issues. You'll see a number 21 here. We hoped it was going to be posted this morning, and it's not, but it should be posted later this afternoon, where you will go in and see the draft rules, these right here. And there'll be a way for you to share your comments and feedback with us. We will be collecting feedback through the end of November, And if enough people through that feedback process request that we have a public hearing, we'll hold a public hearing about what these rules look like. And then we will compile those public comments and make modifications to the rules where appropriate based on that public feedback. And then we'll share the rules and the comments with the State Library Commission at their December 5th commission meeting, at which time they could adopt the rules and make them final, or they could advise us or direct us to make further modifications to the rules and so forth, with the idea that at the end of this process, we have administrative rules that provide good guidance to libraries who want to be participants in the depository program. So I hope that this is something that you'll sincerely consider and that you'll take the time to go out via the link in the email that you'll receive to share your comments about what this process might look like. This is really just the first step. It's the first sort of legal step that we take in reimagining what the depository system looks like for libraries in the digital age. And we at the State Library are doing a lot of thinking about how we can make this more easier and more readily accessible for all of you. And so look for more information about that in the future. But in the meantime, we appreciate it if you'll take the time to share your thoughts and comments about the rulemaking process. I'm pause
So,
briefly. Go ahead, Joe.
If there are any questions, people can ask Jim about this, because he's kind of leading that up.
Jim Kammerer, he is the government information librarian here at the State Library, and so he's leading this process.
Okay, I'll go ahead and put his email in the chat box in case anyone does have any questions.
The draft rules that you'll see, they have rules for how the State Library administers state publications, as well as state agencies' roles in making sure that the State Library has access to state publications. So you'll see those rules there as well, and you're of course welcome to provide comments about those aspects of the rules too. If you've been following this process at all, you'll know that earlier this summer the State Library sought public comment on what we call our State Publications Management Plan, which really talks about all of those procedural steps that the State Library undergoes to administer the depository program. So we've already received a lot of great feedback about the State Library's process, and that's reflected in the administrative rules as well. So now we're really thinking more deliberately about the library's role and agency's role through this administrative rules process. Any questions or comments?
And you're welcome to just unmute your microphone and speak up. It's a lot of material that people have access to through their local OPAC.
Yeah. Okay. So one other just brief update that I wanted to share, and this is rather remarkable. For the first time, I was told since 1996, Congress passed the federal fiscal budget by October 1st, the start of the federal fiscal year. So the federal government has an FY19 budget for the very first time at the start of the fiscal year, which means that this will be one of the earliest times in over 20 years that the State Library will have our official Library Services Technology Act award. What Congress passed was level funding for the Grants to States program, which funds the library development work that we offer here at the State Library. So we don't have our official award yet. We anticipate that that will come sometime in December, but we anticipate that it will be right around the same amount of funding that we've had in the past. So that's really great news. It's going to give us the ability to start planning for how we develop our FY19 library development federal budget. And so that's something that Tracy will be working on with the Network Advisory Council and ultimately taking those recommendations to the State Library Commission. But it's great. Sometimes we haven't received that budget. The latest I recall was June. Typically it's more like February, March. So to have it hopefully in December will give us a lot more time to think about and plan for how we use those monies. And it certainly relieves any kind of uncertainty that we've seen in the past, wondering if and when Congress is going to pass that budget. So good news there as well. We are heading into legislative time. The legislative session starts on January 7th. We tentatively know that the state library's budget is going to be heard by our budget subcommittee on February 5th. That's a little bit later than usual. Typically our budget's heard in the second or third week of January. So it's a little bit later than normal, which also means that Library Legislative Day is going to be just a little bit later than usual. We try to align that event at the State Library with our budget hearing because it gives us a great opportunity to follow up with members of the legislature about what they heard in our budget hearing and to hear from librarians about the importance of the things we talked about and the programs that we offer. So right now, the Library Legislative Night is also scheduled for the evening of February 5th. Despite some of the changes here at the State Library, particularly in terms of the overall space that we have to host an event, we are planning to move forward with the full event as we've had in the past with food and beverage and music. We're planning for informational areas around the State Library for staff and librarians to talk about the work that we do here at the State Library and the work that goes on in libraries around the state. I know we're planning to have teens here again, talking about a variety of things. John, did you want to share any more about the specifics of the event?
Sure. Thank you, Jenny, for confirming that date. There is a committee that's been working on the planning of that evening, and like Jenny said, there will be food and beverages, and there will also be music. As Jenny said, everything is going to happen like it always has, except that we're not going to have the availability of the former downstairs area of the library because that is no longer library space due to budget cuts. And we hope that visiting legislators get an idea of what the budget cuts have meant to the State Library by seeing that empty space downstairs. But folks on the committee are working on making this a great legislative night. And again, that's going to be on February the 5th between 5 and 8. And that's about all I have right now. Jenny, is there anything else that I should mention? You want me to get into the details of all of the programs that we're thinking about that night?
Why don't you, and in particular, maybe talk about some of the changes with the use of social media versus the read posters?
Yeah, so we are planning to not do read posters this year. They are a very expensive part of that evening, as you can imagine. So in an effort to scale back the budget a little bit, we are going to think about ways to involve legislators in a social media event that night, either live streaming the evening or getting the teens from our teen advisory group here at Lewis and Clark to interact with the legislators in a social media format, either Facebook or Instagram or some other social media venue. And our teen librarian, Heather, is working on some of those ideas right now. And when we next meet at the end of this month, we'll come with some ideas on what that social media component might look like. We're also using our teens from Lewis and Clark to do some demonstrations of makerspace materials. There might be a trivia event that evening, and also MSL is going to have monitors all around the library area that will have the new promotion materials on looped videos. So that'll be a fun part of the evening as well.
It's always a really, really terrific event. We typically get about, well over half to 2/3 of the legislators attend. Most legislators say it's one of the highlights of their legislative calendar. We've also had freshman legislators say that, more senior legislators say that it's the event that they have to go to. So, and I will also say that legislators come to the event looking for their librarians. They want to see you. They want to see faces from home. So we strongly encourage librarians from all across the state to make an effort to come to Library Legislative Day. It's a great opportunity to go up to the Capitol to see the legislative process in action. We love having librarians come to our budget hearing to help reinforce the messages that we're conveying about the importance of the work that we do. So please do mark February 5th on your calendar and plan to come to Helena. I would also say, oh, go ahead, John.
Go ahead. I was just going to add that Nanette Gilbertson, MLA's lobbyist, and myself will be working on some training that we might be able to do either before or after the budget hearing that day. And we would invite librarians to attend that as well. And we'll get information out about that as soon as possible.
Terrific.
This is Joe. I just want to add in, it's really important to make your hotel reservation early. Like now that you know the date, do it right now.
I was just going to say the exact same thing.
Oh, great minds think alike.
Yep. And some of us have some guest rooms, so if you need a place to stay, just let us know.
Please do.
Good. Matt or John, did you have any other things you wanted to talk about from a government affairs perspective?
About Legislative Day or just in general?
In general.
So in general, the Montana Library Association Government Affairs Committee is holding a retreat next week on Thursday and Friday. All members of the committee, 15 strong, will be meeting at the Lewistown Public Library starting at noon on Thursday and ending at 1 on Friday. And we will be discussing the importance of the committee to the work that we do during the legislative session and how the committee will operate during the upcoming session. The committee, while it has some very strong leaders as part of the committee, we have never really utilized the committee in a way that was very effective. And we hope to change that this session. And next week's retreat will hopefully give us all some direction and help us prepare properly for the session and to get all of our ducks in a row before the session starts. And so we're really looking forward to a positive two-day meeting and hopefully come out of that retreat with some ideas on how to better communicate, how to quickly reach out to our legislators, and how to quickly involve Montana libraries in that session.
Great. I know I'm really looking forward to the retreat. As John said, it's a great group of leaders, and it represents folks from a wide variety of sort of government affairs backgrounds, from public library issues to local government issues, state issues, school library issues, academic library issues. So I think we'll just have a really broad perspective that, as John said, will position us well as the potential for a variety of different kinds of legislative opportunities are presented to us.
Yeah, I can't wait for next week. Matt, do you have anything you want to add?
Nope. I think John said everything that needed to be said. Appreciate it.
Great. So any government affairs and or legislative related questions? All right, so let's dive into talking a little bit more about the public awareness campaign. I'm really excited to give you sort of a sneak peek into some of the things that we've been working on. Joe shared the sticker. We know that those are popping up all around the state. We also have banners that are popping up around the state. We had enough money in our budget to print about 24 of these, and they are large banners. I think they're like 8 feet by 4 feet. They are outdoor mesh banners that libraries are encouraged to hang either outside their library or, sorry about that, another prominent place in your community. Some of you will recognize Susie McIntyre from the Great Falls Public Library in this terrific banner. I love the message, Business Incubator, Montana style. You know that the focus of the campaign is how libraries and information services support economic development, workforce development, and entrepreneurship around Montana. So the bulk of the content and messaging for the campaign has an economic development focus. So as I said, these banners are popping up in all corners of the state. I think we have maybe about 3 or 4 that have not found homes yet. So if you would like a banner, please do send me an email and we'll see what we can do about getting one to you. And then we're going to, in the near future, ask libraries who have them to start posting pictures of them on social media. So let me walk through just a few more of the resources that we have available. The page that I'm showing you right now is not quite live. I think it's going to be live, we're hoping, next Monday. And I just want to give a shout out to the Montana Library Association, Debbie, Elizabeth, and Stephen, who have agreed to host the page for the public awareness campaign and who've put a lot of time into helping Bannock Communications organize all of the content and make it available. So this page should be linked live from the Montana Library Association homepage, we hope in the next day or two. Most of the content on the page now is live. There are a few elements where it says coming soon. Those are still in development. What you will find here are the resources that you need to engage most directly with the public awareness campaign. So, for example, all of the logos, if you want to place a logo on your own website, or if you want to put a logo in your own newsletter or in an email that you would send out, those graphics are available from the landing page for you to use. There's also a guide here that gives you information about the best layouts and size and color formats and that kind of thing for using the logo in a way that we can use consistently around the state. So these are freely available for you to use to incorporate in your own messaging about the importance of your library and the work that you do. We have a couple of additional print elements in addition to the stickers and the banners. They are actually sitting in my office. I wish I had a photo of the large stack of boxes. that we'll be working on getting out to all of you in the very near future. I just wanted to give you a look at what one of those looks like. So for those of you who don't know Sarah Calhoun, Sarah lives in White Silver Springs, and she is the founder of the business Red Ants Pants. She's also one of the subjects of the video series that Bannock has developed. She talks in that video about how reading This House of Sky from Ivan Doig inspired her to move from Connecticut to Montana, and then how she worked in the Bozeman Public Library to start a small business which grew into Red Ants Pants. So it's a really, really powerful message, and we were thrilled that she agreed to be one of the champions for the public awareness campaign. In addition to Sarah's poster, we also have a poster of a gentleman by the name of Tom Coley, who started a company called Ranch Maps that provides ranching consulting to ranch owners. It helps them to understand things like water rights issues, and he makes use of a lot of the geographic information that the state library provides access to help him in his consulting business. So again, those print elements will be coming to you, and I as I said, I do have maybe 3 or 4 more banners if you're interested in one. We have a fact sheet about the campaign. One thing I really want to draw your attention to is this news release. So we are going to be asking libraries to take this news release and customize it. It's just a Word document. We talked about this news release at Federation meetings. It's a tool that you can use to promote the campaign in your communities through your local media sources. It talks about the purpose of the campaign, what it's intended to draw attention to. There's places in the template where you can add information about your own library services, maybe get quotes from people within your community. Our hope is that starting November 14th, so just after the Veterans Day holiday and running for about 2 weeks, libraries will be sharing these press releases with your local media outlets. And then again, on the campaign website, we have guides for talking with the media, making use of the information that we've prepared. There's sample Q&A, question and answers if you want to engage in any kind of interview style format with your media, suggested questions, and other kinds of topics that you might use to talk about the importance of your library to your community through this campaign. We have a wide variety of talking points about how libraries support economic development, how libraries support entrepreneurship and workforce development, etc. So again, these are all resources for you to take, use directly, customize to your own purposes to really promote the idea that libraries play an essential role in supporting economic development in our communities. Another resource that we hope libraries will make use of are customizable letters to the editor. These are letters that we encourage you to encourage people in your communities to write, not just libraries themselves. But if there's members of your boards, for example, who might be willing to write a letter to the editor, or a business owner that you work with who might be able to write a letter to the editor, these customizable letters might give you a place to start. In the future, we'll have a variety of newsletter articles that will go out that you might be able to incorporate into your own newsletters and other kinds of media that you share. And then importantly, there's going to be a significant social media campaign. There already exists a Facebook page, and we saw this at the last website chat. So if you haven't liked our Facebook page, I hope you'll go out and do so. And this is where we really, really hope that you'll start sharing content about what your library is doing to power Montana. This is where we hope you'll share those photos of your banners and so forth. So be sure and go out and like this page. And then also we're going to have a significant YouTube presence. That's where we're going to be posting all of our really, really terrific campaign videos. At the last website chat, I shared one with author Jamie Ford, and we have one with Sarah Calhoun, another one with Tom Coley. There's a video of a gentleman by the name of Jason Riddle, who used to work out in Fallon County doing economic development. He now works for the Montana Association of Counties. There's a great video from a couple of guys who own a consulting firm called Over Here Consulting. Those two gentlemen are blind and low vision, and they provide technology consulting and small business development consulting for people who are also blind and low vision. So just some really, really powerful tributes to the importance of libraries and the work that we do to support the economic vitality and resilience of the state of Montana. I'm going to stop there and ask if there are any questions, and then I'm going to conclude by showing you one of our other videos of our favorite teen librarian, Heather Dickerson.
Again, you can use the chat box to type in a question or comment, or just unmute yourself. Anyone? What do you think?
I should add, you'll receive an email. I think it's going to be sent on November 14th with a lot of detailed information about this campaign. We encourage you to make sure that you share that information really widely within your community. We want to extend the campaign far and wide around the state. We're targeting, of course, librarians and library trustees, but people within the economic development community, the Montana Association of Counties, the realty community, for example, and we're looking for suggestions on other communities of interest that we should seek out to promote the campaign as well. So look for that information in your inbox. You'll get direct links to the page that I'm sharing with you today. Explore the resources that are here, and we hope you'll make use of them in the coming months. In addition to the resources that you see here, I wanted to let you know that there is also going to be a radio campaign that's going to start in late November. That radio campaign is going to continue through February, so about halfway through the legislative session up to transmittal. The radio spots are going to be aired on all of the affiliates of the Northern Ag Network, so 42 different radio stations all around the state, and there will be, I think it's about three, I'm not going to get this quite right, 3 ads a day, 5 days a week for, what is that, about 4 months or so. So lots of great radio attention. We are targeting the Northern Ag Network because its primary audience are not necessarily an audience of known library users. It's a way for us to reach out beyond sort of our typical library users and to draw attention to the services that we offer in that way. Okay, so if there's no other questions, I'm going to show you this video. I know that last time when we did the Jamie Ford video, it didn't come across real well via the GoToMeeting, so this one might have some issues too, but I'm just really excited about the message and wanted to have a chance to share it with you. Maybe.
Maybe put the link in the chat box.
It's not public yet, so I can't.
Oh, darn.
I know. Shoot. Maybe I'll pause it and try one more time. All right. Well, so much for my sneak peek.
You may need to
Go
click
ahead.
that link at the bottom down there about. You may need to click the link down there about showing all content. I'm not sure what that one is. It's allow once.
Let's
I
see.
thought it was asking a question about secure content versus.
Maybe.
Try again. Yeah, right there. Show all content.
Okay. Let's see if we can get this to play.
So one of the ways that the library is contributing to the community is we're providing young people with the resources they need to grow into healthy, productive, contributing adults. I'm Heather Dickerson. I'm the Teen Services Librarian at Lewis and Clark Library, and my job is to connect middle and high schoolers with the things that they want to know about. Public libraries are mirrors. We present the community to you. We're the face of their town, a healthy connection to the adult world. They might not spend time at City Hall, but here at the library, they experience community values in action. We're always trying to figure out what young people need and want from us at the library, and teens want to know stuff. We have quick and easy pamphlets, brochures, bookmarks that have websites, books, phone numbers, and email addresses, so they can call and make the connections to find out the stuff that they want to know about. They're really focused on what comes after high school. So they want to know how they can get into a good college, how they can get a good score on the ACT, or how they can get a job. So we're trying to make sure that our programs can be a good community resource to help young people get that information and then be successful. Librarians are totally superheroes. All day, every day.
Could she be any cuter? I hope that played
Isn't
well
she
for you
great?
guys. Yeah.
Aren't we lucky?
You are so lucky.
We got to figure out a way to steal her.
Mhm.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Don't you dare.
Back off. Heather's ours.
Oh, God.
So what do you think? Pretty exciting.
It's very exciting, even though it doesn't display on our screen nearly as nice as it is going to be in the YouTube video. But
I think you're right.
that's always the way it happens when you have your video and audio coming through all these different sources. But yeah, it's adorable, Jenny.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, Jody's saying, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's exactly right, Jody. It's awesome.
I think this is something that we all can take a lot of pride in.
Kind of made me want to get a little teary-eyed, actually.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I tell you what, some of these, the over here guys, talk about teary-eyed. Wow. So anyway, lots more to come. Thank you for your interest. And again, if you have questions, comments, let me know. Shoot me an email.
In the chat box from Lisa Mecklenburg Jackson, great video. Heather is darling. Yes. Yeah, she's like a very powerful version of darling.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thanks for joining us on a Friday afternoon. We'll hang out here a little bit longer in case you want to chat a little bit more. Otherwise, Thanks again.
Thanks, Jenny. Go ahead and stop our recording now.